Hey crafty cuties, welcome back to Paper Terrace. If you're new, I'm Jessica, and today we are going to do something to use up some of our scraps. This is just one idea. I've done it before and I'll probably do it again, but I need to use these scraps up, and I have lots of other ideas and videos coming to show you different things that you can do with scraps. So this project specifically, I'm going to be focusing in on my strips because I have so many offcuts from making journal pages. So essentially we're going to be making like master boards today, but because I'm going to mostly be using the strips, which I will start gathering, these ones are going to look a little bit more like a quilted design. And so I'm going to just go ahead and I'm grabbing all different shapes and sizes. I have lots of specifically like craft paper and graph, and so we'll just mix in some designed pieces as well. And I'm not sure how many I'll need for this project, so we'll just start with a handful, and I'm going to trim some of these down to be a little bit thinner. So I'm just going to grab a bunch. Let's see, I think I will cut these ones in half. Or, let's see, I want different lengths, so. And so yeah, I'm gonna trim some of these like thinner strips. And I would say they don't have to be perfect strips. You might get a better result if they are straighter, but I know for me, if I'm doing a project with scraps, that I definitely don't want to worry about making sure that anything is cut up perfect. So we'll just do this one in half. Let's do some smaller strips with this one. Okay. We'll just get a couple more, and you can use book pages as well. Let's see. Like this book page has a little angled piece on it, so I'm just going to cut that off. And I feel like none of these are coming out straight or equal strips anyways. Okay, we'll get a couple more and then we'll get going. I'm going to use a base for mine, and you can either use scrapbook paper or book pages, and I just happen to have a ton of music papers. So these are like 6 inches by 5, I would say. And I'm just going to start with one of these. And then also, we're going to start with a square. And I'm going to cut my square down to 2 inches. So 2 inches by 2 inches, but you can play around and see what size works for you depending on the size of paper that you're using for your base. And you'll need some glue. And if you want, you can ink up your strips, but I'm going to start the first one without any ink. So we're going to start by hoping that our glue works, and we're going to glue our square down in the center of our page. And let's see. If you want, you can find the center of your page or you can eyeball it. I'm going to go ahead and actually fold my paper in half and then in half the other way, because I am not one who likes to measure, but I don't mind the fold marks because we're going to be covering this anyways. Okay, now this part I am going to eyeball, so I'm just going to eyeball where the center would be using my little square here. And I'm gonna put this on like in a diamond shape. So this is gonna be our guide piece right here. Now from here, what we're gonna be doing is gluing on our strips. And you can try a bunch of different designs. So let's see, I don't want glue to go off my page. You know what we can do? I think this will work. Is just start out by putting glue all over. This glue takes a little while to dry, so I have some time. And so I'm gonna start by just lining up my strip with the square like this. And again, I'm not gonna worry about it being too perfect. So for this first one, I'm lining it up with the edge like that. But you could also go all the way across and see what kinds of designs you get. So then I'm gonna take another one, hopefully a different print, and go this way. And I'm just gonna keep going kind of all the way around. So this is where it's gonna help if your pieces are cut straight, because things will line up a bit better. But for me in the junk journal world, I'm not ever going for perfection. You can also like layer them a little bit if you need to make them fit. So see, then we'll go one right there, and then I'm gonna take some of this graph paper, and obviously we're gonna be trimming off the excess, so we'll have those strips as well. I'm just gonna do a few before I start trimming. Okay, just like that. And then you're just gonna keep going all the way around for this first one. This one should go pretty fast. And just like with like a master board, you'll either be able to just go ahead and keep this your final project once you have all of your strips, or you can add more layers to get different results like stamping and embossing and things like that. I'll show you what it will look like to run this through your embossing machine in just a moment, once we get the whole thing covered. And so that is the goal, is just keep going until you have your entire book page or your base covered. If you need to add more glue, go ahead and do that. Yeah, and if something doesn't line up perfectly, then you can just kind of overlap a little bit, or don't worry about it if you're going to be adding different layers. I'm just going to even tear off a little piece for this last piece up here. I'm going to actually start trimming some of the excess so that I can keep using these strips. So this is kind of satisfying right here. So of course now you're going to have some pieces that have an angled edge, but you can kind of see how that won't really matter once we keep going. You could use your trimmer for this too, but I find it quick enough to just use my scissors. And I'm just using my book page or base as my guide. Okay, I just have a few more areas to cover. Oops, trimmed a little bit too much right there, but that's okay. Over here. You can even feel free to leave a few areas, you know, with just the book page as well. So I think, let me just trim this right here. And this goes relatively quick. So that's already a fun look, and you can cut these up into strips and make little tags, journaling cards. We are always adding those to our journals, and you know, you have your own design. You can stick to certain colors. You can stick to, you know, themes of paper. So let's go ahead, and I am going to cut this one in half actually, and we will run it through an embossing. Let's see, should I do half or like a journaling card size? Let's just do 3.5. Oops, my trimmer does that sometimes. I think that I need to sharpen the blades, but okay. So let me grab my embossing machine real fast. And an embossing folder. Let's see. I'm just gonna grab a couple while you guys are right there waiting for me. Okay. I wasn't quite prepared with this, but that's okay. All right, so I am going to take this one right here and place it in the folder. I'm just using like a plaid kind of folder. Close it up. And actually, I need to turn this around so that I can get it. Okay, so I'm at a really weird angle, but I think this embossing folder is actually a little too thick, and I tend to forget which like sandwiches it needs to go through, but let's try that. Oh, come on, would you? Well, I'm not going to take forever trying to get that one to go through, so I'm going to use this rose one. So that embossing folder I was just trying to use, it's a really thick one, and I can never remember which plates I'm supposed to use. Now these ones are probably not enough for this one. Like I said, didn't really plan this part out very well, did I? That's okay. Yeah, embossing and die cutting is not my favorite thing, that's for sure. Okay, this will work. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. This one didn't quite fit all the way in, but that looks really cool, and I feel like that ties it all together. Now you could, at this stage, use ink to kind of showcase all of those areas, and keep in mind that my papers are still wet, so I would probably dry them or let it dry before running it through, but this is a really cool look for sure. So there's that. Let's put this back to the side. And let's do one more. We're gonna do a smaller one for this, and I'm gonna use the music paper again, and we're gonna do the same idea, but just a little bit different. And just for the sake of the video, I'll just do a smaller piece to start with. And for this one, so we're gonna use strips again. Trim some more down. And there's definitely times where I have just tons of these sizes of strips as well. So I'm just gonna tear pare some of these down and make them a little bit smaller. This part, I'm just going to go ahead and add glue all around. And same idea, but we're not going to use the square in the center this time. We'll just go ahead and layer them up, and you can have some that go all the way up and down. You can have some that maybe meet in the middle, change it up to get an interesting look. Sometimes I'll just tear them when I know I don't need a whole big piece. And then basically I'm just going to keep going all the way. So really this is just going to give us kind of a different look. But it is still a bit more fun and interesting than just if you cut out a scrapbook piece of paper for a tag or for a journal card. Actually, we'll use this one right here. And for this one, we'll just trim the excess as well. You can emboss this one too, or let's go ahead and get out our stencils. I feel like these are just a little bit quicker than actual master boards where you're collaging. I'm gonna go ahead and get a stencil. And we'll just do a few little spots with this stencil. So you could just kind of sit and make a bunch of these up, try different designs, see what you like that. We could even finish this off with like a centerpiece if we wanted this to maybe be a journaling card. So we'll put a little die cut in the center, like that. Or we could even take some more scraps and actually kind of layer them on. And you could also sew around all of the little layers too. Of course, these are all extra steps that, are going to make it a little bit longer of a process, but fun to play around with the different things that you can do to get more of a finished piece. There. So I think you guys get the idea. I could keep going on. I prefer this one right here with the embossing, and I like that design a lot, but again, this is going to be a quicker version and it still looks really cool. So I hope you guys liked this idea. Like I said, I have other ideas coming already filmed for using up your scraps. So I hope that you guys are liking this series, and I will see you guys soon. So I hope you have a lovely day. I'll see you soon. Bye.